What is going on, guys? I hope you're having a happy and healthy day. Today in this podcast, we're going to be talking about how I think the future for Arcade1Up is going to look very different than we've seen in the past, and how that's actually pretty cool. That means viewers like you are going to get an opportunity to say what they want the future of Arcade1Up to be. I think there's been a lot of struggle with the company, not because of them, but because of the conditions of the world. The pandemic, the cost of prices have put them in a pinch, and we are here to rescue them. Not from a financial situation, but they realize how important this community is, and that community includes this channel, those that are watching this, also those on other content creators. They want you to get loud. Hashtag get loud. You know what that means? They want you to be talking about what cabinets that you want. So we're going to break it down and talk about this from the past, the present, the future, what this all means, and how you should be excited about it. We're going to talk about it we're going to do it right now. So check this out. Last Monday, I was on a stream with Michael B. And if you don't know, we often have these live streams, and afterwards there's a post show. It's like we all chat. We're all friends, right? And B hooked us up, and Olivia, or Liv, was on the show, and she's been talking about getting loud. Now, she is running the direct-to-consumer wing of Arcade1Up. She's going to be putting together a lot of community events in the future, and it's all about engaging with the community to figure out exactly what the community wants when it comes to titles. You know, Arcade1Up has a lot of licenses. We're going to be talking about that, and I want to hear from you down in the chat what cabinet you want to get. Get loud, get big, it's about to get great. So, as an example, I put in the live chat right now about Qbert. So Qbert is a good example. There's a current petition of people that are saying it is time for Arcade1Up to release a Qbert. Now, keep in mind, there's an interesting philosophy when we talk about Qbert. There's some common themes that we're going to be talking about tonight between cabinets that they've done very well with and cabinets that the customers are demanding. Is this what the customer wants? So Qbert, if you want to sign the petition for Qbert is at 702 people have signed. Click the link in the description or in the live chat right now and go fill out the change.org. There's no obligation, but only fill it out if that is a cabinet you actually want. Don't just sign it just because you're like, I want to support the cause or something like that. If you don't believe in it, don't sign it. So those in the chat are starting to list the cabinets that they want. And I started to notice that on Facebook, on the Facebook official Arcade1Up page, there's a current poll going on. Now, Arcade1Up doesn't always do polls, but this was from the community. It was started, and the results I'm starting to see in that thread are really interesting. Qbert, for example, was on the list. Another one that I saw high on the list was Spy Hunter. Some of the challenges that people have for cabinets like this: if you're going to do a Spy Hunter, if you're going to do a Qbert, what are you going to pair it with? And I think this is an example of where Arcade1Up has changed their theme. Instead of focusing on 14 games, where the cabinet doesn't really do well because it has a quantity of games, you end up being in a situation where you have vertical games on a horizontal screen or horizontal games on a vertical screens. You have controls that just don't work. But hey, some of these more unique cabinets, ones that are demanded by the fans, could possibly do well with fewer games. And that may actually be better. That might actually be better. Let's think about it. So, my camera is all not focusing. So think about this, guys, all right? If there is an Arcade1Up cabinet that comes out, and it is a perfect cab, it is the perfect cab that you've been waiting for. It's got your favorite game on it, but it only has one game. That's right, one game. This is interesting because the community flipped out when Terminator 2 was announced with only one game. And I say this, the reason why people flipped out is because it was something to freak out about. It was obvious. It was written all over the cabinet that this cabinet only has one game. There's no extra logos. You go down in there, and they even mocked us. Arcade1Up slapped us in the face by saying it has a second piece, and that second piece is behind the scenes. Behind the scenes, really? It gave us something to poke at. It gave us something to focus on. But is one game actually something that is not a bad thing? Imagine, if you will, Arcade1Up releases another cabinet with only one game, but it's your favorite game, like Spy Hunter. It's not paired with anything else. It has exactly your game on it, and you love it. Or, as an example, it has Qbert on it, just like the Petition. And maybe it has, I don't know Qbert very well, Qbert Cubes or something like that. And people have said they can never do it because of the control. But they've responded, Qbert, no, you just turn it 45-degree angle on the controls and it will work. But it's probably not going to have a ton of games. But does it need to have a ton of games? Unanimously, among almost everyone among the Arcade1Up group, has said Star Wars. The Star Wars Atari cabinet is one of the best Arcade1Up cabinets that have ever been released. How many games does that have on it? Well, it has 3 games. 2 of them are basically the same game. Sure, A New Hope, it's Star Wars, and then Empire Strikes Back, but the gameplay is very similar. And then, the 3rd game, it's not even that great of a game. It might as well have had 1 game on it. Now, that particular cabinet, 3 games, perfect, right? Like, in that specific scenario, the controls for those 3 games work perfect. Don't take away games on the Star Wars cabinet, please. No. But here's my point. Is it really the 1 game that's holding you back if they did more? Or would it be great if it was just a perfect cabinet, your favorite? And I think that's what we're going to start to see from Arcade1Up. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So you take a look at the Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair is highly successful right now, despite the fact that it's a higher price, $649. People that are Dragon's Lair fans are not complaining that this cabinet has too few games. That's not part of the complaint. In fact, this cabinet is available in other formats. There's no real complaints about it. If you're an Arcade1Up fan, you understand what this cabinet will buy you, what this cabinet will give you, right? What it's going to give you is a cabinet that is more true to the original. Now, if you want to play it on Steam, great. You want to play it on iArcade? Great. If you love those formats, awesome. But Arcade1Up did something different. It's simply different. That's all it is. It's just a different cabinet. Now, you can complain about this and that, but most people that wanted this cabinet enjoy it. But notice something special about this cabinet. It's direct-to-consumer. And that's the theme we're talking about here. It's a cabinet that the fans want, that the fans demanded, and Arcade1Up delivered. Now, it took them a couple years to get it right because they wanted the cell phone and all of that. You probably know the story. But now they got a scoreboard, and they were able to do that on this cabinet, and they were able to give the consumers what they wanted, despite the fact that there's other formats out there. Okay, cool. So we got Dragon's Lair. But here's what I think is going to change. Cabinets like Legacy that will do well at Walmart, at Target, or Best Buy, Arcade1Up doesn't have to concern themselves with those type of cabinets. Think about it. The top 3 Arcade1Up cabinets, how do I do this? The top 3 Arcade1Up cabinets out there, I don't know the full list, but John D once said on a show, Star Wars was number 3. I'm going to put a guess out there that the number 2 was Street Fighter. I think of the ETA Prime cabinet, right? The ETA Prime cabinet. What am I saying, ETA Prime? ETA Prime made a video that taught people how you can kind of upgrade your Street Fighter cabinet to have all the games in the world in it. I think that caused a lot of sales for Arcade1Up, and in fact, boosted the entire brand because people were swarming to buy these home arcades and then just hack them. And as other cabinets came out, they continued to buy it. There's an entire community of people that own tens, dozens of Arcade1Up cabinets. Now, what do you think is the number 1 Arcade1Up cabinet? I'm going to go with Pac-Man. Now, my entire point of this dialogue right here is when the cabinet is really popular, the title is really popular, it's gonna sell. And let's take a look at those cabinets real quick, like a Pac-Man or a Street Fighter on the Arcade1Up website. In fact, no, let's not do that. Let's do Walmart.com to give you an illustration of Arcade1Up on Walmart, right? And you will see that they have, for example, a Street Fighter cabinet, $249, no riser. Will they sell a lot of these? Yes. And does that go towards the 3 million cabinets sold? Of course it does. What about a Pac-Man? You'll see normally Pac-Man sells for that $315. You have the Legacy as well, $315. Now, if you think about it, Arcade1Up sells these at wholesale, right? Mass quantities to Walmart. They probably only cost, obviously, less than $300 to make, and that's where they get their bread and butter. But when it comes to the newer cabinets on Walmart.com, you know, we know that Simpsons did not do quite well. We know that if you look at the Golden Tee, and that's the example, the Golden Tee was, I think, the new cabinet that Arcade1Up, I don't even see it on Walmart's website now. What is it? Golden Tee 3D? It's got to be there, right? Okay, the Golden 3D, $699. And this is where Arcade1Up stubbed their toe, right? I don't know if it's their fault or if it's just the pandemic, everything that's been going on, but this $699 cabinet came with that TN monitor. Now, of course, on this channel and many other channels, we've been talking to death about that TN monitor, but listen up very closely because this is really important. That monitor has ruined that cabinet, in my opinion. You don't see the channels, you don't see the Facebook groups filled with people enjoying their cabinet. If maybe because of myself or Michael B, other people that said that TN monitor doesn't look very good, maybe they did buy it, and maybe they're ashamed to post that they ordered it. I don't think so. What I think happened is it actually hurt their sales. Not because of me, not because of Michael B, not because of anyone that was complaining or defending or anything like that. The fact is, in my opinion, the fans, the community said, no, this one's not going to work. This cab, it's just not going to work. That price and the quality is just not going to do it for us. It doesn't matter how many games are on it. And so they have to sell to Walmart at a lower rate, at a wholesale price, to be able to make back their money. Do you think they did well on this cabinet? I guess we don't know the numbers, but it feels as though it didn't do well. Now, of course, the Mortal Kombat cabinet is a little bit different. If you take a look at the Mortal Kombat cabinet, as an example, 30th anniversary, the price was lower. Now, it had that 17-inch monitor. That was that lower price, lower quality, I should say. But it didn't have the screen tilted back as much. It didn't have that screen tilted back. So the problem of the unit was not as much emphasized. Now, there's a group of content creators that are going to be making videos, hopefully myself as well. I've been buying these 17-inch monitors, Dell replacements, getting messages from different people in the community where they're buying brand new monitors that have the same spec of the Mortal Kombat or the same spec as the Golden Tee edition. Look, people are looking for answers. It's too high of a price. The quality is not there. And we've heard from Arcade1Up that this has actually caused the XL line and the Pro line to be paused a little bit, slowed down as they do research because their formula doesn't work. The formula is broken, but there's a new formula. Do you see where we're going? There is actually a new formula that they think that'll work. And this is based on my analysis. The charity event was a test to see if this community is interested in getting cabinets direct to consumer. Is the trust there? The trust is there. The community wants deals, and they gave it to them. But what's the next step? The next step is to get loud. That's right. Voices need to be heard because Arcade1Up can put together projects that you would like. Get loud, my friend. If there's a cabinet that you want, comment in this video. Comment in other videos. Continue to say, make sure your voice is heard If your voice is heard, it might actually happen. There's not a large amount of people in this community. You have the power to make a difference. You, my friend, can make a difference in this community. You can get a set of other people that are also interested in the same cab. Get them to get loud. Arcade1Up will hear you. Reach out to Olivia on the Facebook groups. Nicole, these new employees where their entire job is to improve the direct-to-consumer market and try to give us a cabinet like a Dragon's Lair. Let's take a look at it, right? A Dragon's Lair cabinet was another test. This was a cabinet that was dedicated. This was dedicated to the community. This was a cabinet that they didn't believe they could go to the likes of Walmart, Best Buy, Target. They couldn't do it. They couldn't get people to be able to buy that cabinet at that price. It's too specialized. You know what people at Walmart want? People at Walmart, well, we found out the hard way they didn't want Golden Tee. But you know, they want Mortal Kombat. They want Pac-Man. They want Street Fighter. But Arcade1Up has sold those to death. If you want a more expensive cabinet that's specialized, how do you do it? Well, you don't give them to Walmart because Walmart's going to ask for a deep wholesale price, and it's going to cut a lot of the money out, right? But they can make Pac-Man in Walmart at really high quantities where that formula would work. But you can't do that. You can't do that on, say, a Killer Instinct Pro. It's just not going to work. I don't even know if you can do that on an NBA Jam Shaq Edition. $6.99? I don't even think this formula is working. 19-inch screen, but it has that same problem as Golden Tee. I just don't know if it's going to work. But what will work, I believe, my friend, those in the community, is this. You want Q*bert? Then sign the petition. You want a cabinet like Spy Hunter? Create your own petition and blast it out there. You don't know what could happen. It could be huge. It could be the next big thing in the community that makes a difference. I think you should try it. Now, I'm asking you because I typically don't want to make a petition myself. I think they'll see Justin on it. They'll see Console Kits on it. He's trying to get loud. He's trying to use his followers to agree with him, right? And I'm not saying anything negative because I know that Patrick P-Dubs is very influenced by this. I mean, that's one of his favorite cabinets. If someone put out that my favorite cabinet, I would jump on it as well. But what I want to do is to try to help you out. What type of games do you think could actually work? As an example, I wouldn't say to mention anything about Nintendo. Don't do a petition for Donkey Kong. Like, that's no one's gonna, like, tons of people will sign a petition for Donkey Kong. It's not gonna happen, right? Nintendo's not gonna make a deal with Arcade1Up anytime soon. And if they do, it's not gonna be because of a petition. Unless the petition somehow went viral. But we're talking like 10 million people signed it, or 1 billion people signed it, or some crap like that, right? Other than that, I would say focus on things that they have license for. And that they've done games from that publisher recently. So let's take a look at it. What are good titles to get a petition together to get loud about? So let's take a look. I wouldn't go with Taito as an example. They have not done anything with Taito in a while, right? And we know that AtGames and iArcade has a relationship with Taito, and so perhaps that's going to go on deaf ears. But if you take a look at the Bandai Namco, anything by Bandai Namco that you haven't heard any of us say that's coming out in a leak, that would be really good. I see someone in the chat talking about a proper Defender being very good. Now, I did that because I thought a whole bunch of people would say that I pre-recorded this. I didn't pre-record this. This is live, right? So, and we got some super chats in here. How about House of the Dead? Now, those would be cabinets. I believe House of the Dead on the Facebook poll is in fact #1 right now. Last time I checked, House of the Dead was #1 on the poll. If you want that cabinet, that's a great example. True, Nintendo not on board, at least not yet. But let's take a look at it a little bit more. So anything from Bandai Namco, sure, okay. Midway, absolutely. If there's a midway game you absolutely want, scream it at the top of the mountain. But Capcom, anything from Capcom that you think would be reasonable as a dedicated game. This is where it gets interesting. A Capcom Legacy Arcade is going to have 14 games on it, and I think this can work. You know, this has worked in the past. The Big Blue worked. They can take and assemble a whole bunch of Capcom games and put it on the same control scheme as the Street Fighter. There's basically no complaint, no issues. We're good, right? NBA Jam, okay, it's going to have the 3 NBA Jams. That's it. That makes sense. They've already done that, right? But other midways, as an example, is what about the Defender Partycade? The Catalina wine mixer of Partycades. Could they come out with a variant of that? This is where I think a lot of people could make petitions for, because it's a title they already have. And we're just basically saying this is the format we want it in. As an example, basically give us a Defender without Mortal Kombats. Like adding the Mortal Kombats to the Defender cab actually weakens that title. Now, you may say, I want to play Mortal Kombat, but then, are you really a Defender fan? Because now you have to substitute the Mortal Kombat controls to be able to play that title on it. Or would you rather just have more like the Partycade, but in a full scale, or 3/4 scale? But imagine it's just a 1-player, perhaps, like the Partycade. Would that be the acceptable thing? Because then you would get like a more realistic Defender control panel. But own the solution. Own the solution. Because if you get loud and explain this to Arcade1Up, I think you can make a difference, right? There's other things that I've seen the community talk about, is like the pinball machines. We all know that we want bigger and better. I think it's a waste of time to get loud about the pinball machine. I think they've made a ton of pinball machines, and they have a partnership with Zen, and a newer version of Zens are going to happen when they're going to happen, right? If the community screams at the top of the mountain that we want a 32-inch 1080p pinball machine and we want it now, it's probably just going to run its course and happen when it happens, right? That's what I think, right? But some of the things that you could be screaming is like, I want a Daytona. Now, there's struggles and problems with cabinets like a Daytona. A Daytona cabinet requires a chipset that perhaps Arcade1Up is not ready to invest in. It can require emulation that Arcade1Up or the publisher is not ready to invest in as well. So Qbert is a great petition because we know they have the license for Qbert. They've explained that. And we know they have a chipset that could totally run it. What they think is nobody wants it. And that's where getting loud can change their mind, right? And to continue this conversation, we're going to bring in a good buddy of mine, Mr. Kongzerus. What is going on? And look at that background. It's so beautiful. Man. 2 people on it, but it has like a special branding that's only for... let me change that. It's so silly.
Yeah, no
All
worries.
right, man. We gotta with having someone on. I gotta tone down the music a little bit. What's up? What's up?
I like the background music. It's so calming listening to your voice with that background music. But it was a good discussion. I think you have some great points about, which cabs people want and how they can raise their voice to really make it heard. I think we got some good information from, what people want from like a sale. It's all good information that Arcade1Up is listening to about what the community wants, and you can make your voice heard exactly what you were saying. So I really like that Qbert commission or petition is one example.
Yeah, and we need more, right? Like I think maybe if we could get at least 1 more or 2 or 3 more petitions going, I think that would give Arcade1Up to give them something to work with. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think they're necessarily struggling for ideas, but I think they're struggling to know exactly what the community wants. Now they have this new blood of this, hey, we're going to kind of double down on the direct-to-consumer. What does double down mean? Well, they haven't done a lot of exclusive cabinets recently. I mean, you got your Dragon's Lair, right? And I think maybe the NBA Jam Shack Edition could be exclusive. But if they're going to double down, does that mean 2 a year? Like, could we expect maybe 2, like a Qbert that's community driven, but yet another thing?
Well, you think about Dragon's Lair that came out, it really did actually start off as a petition. There was a gentleman that was in a community a while back. You don't see him much anymore, but Derek D, he used to be really involved in the Arcade1Up official group. And I think he made the first Dragon's Lair petition that got over 1,000 signatures and was like, hey, people want this, and like 3 years later it happened. So I think that gives us at least some sort of a sense that this grassroots movement for people raising their hands, even if it gets to 1,000 or something. I think Nooner had mentioned what their threshold is. I think the magic number many people have said is around like 3,000 is kind of a sweet spot for sales. But you think about people signing a petition is different than actually purchasing it. So you have to get above that, or just really have that movement for it. Can they get to that number? I think that's part of the business side that, we can say titles all we want, but unless it's still a viable business decision to do it, we won't be able to see it in the market. Otherwise they'll show up on clearance. But it could be, I like the specialized cabinets like a Q*bert that looks unique enough that people would really attach themselves to it because it's a collector type of edition. I think Dragon's Lair will be that. The Private Reserve, I feel like this is one of those Star Wars type cabinets that once it's sold out, I feel like this cabinet, the Dragon's Lair, when I'm looking at it right now, that's what I'm talking about it. I think it'll go up in value eventually.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. The idea that not only is it, for the community, but it's like a limited edition. It's a collector's edition, right, of the cabinet. So they've tried that a few times, and we've talked about that before. But now it seems like they're putting a little bit more ammunition behind it. They're hiring people that are getting engagement with the community more than just John D. and David McIntosh. We're taking his and people with explicit experience doing this from other companies. It's more and more I think about it, I'm getting more and more excited, because when we make these videos, we see an outpouring of people in the community demanding their cabinet. And it's like, wait, you might actually get it. Like, it could happen now.
Yeah, the voices of the community, I think this is a good time for 1UP fans to now, within these community streams or through petitions or folks, they've developed a new marketing team essentially that has an emphasis at taking a look at what the community is saying. And this isn't just YouTube, this is also on Facebook, if you're on Reddit, if you're on Discord, any of those places. I think you've seen it. There was a while where we didn't see any official communication from the 1UP team. And I don't know about you, but my email has been blowing up with Arcade1Up promotion. So there's a desire now to communicate direct to the consumer. I saw several posts on Facebook where they're actually responding to comments as Arcade1Up official about people having issues with things. And some of them I felt bad for, because I think the marketing team, while they're new and fresh and they want to hear from the community, they're also receiving some of the previous non-communication baggage that came in with that like, oh, I sent it this ticket like 7 months ago. I never heard back. We're like, oh, we're sorry. Let's connect the dots with you. And, some of those little things go a long way. But the new team, I can definitely say they're vested in hearing the community's voice.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think what we're going to see in the future, it seems like more of that, because, just chatting with Liv and Olivia, she seems very good at her job, first of all. Like, she's someone, like, if I was to interview for a technical project manager position at a job, I would be like, man, she really knows her stuff, or she knows how to communicate. She knows how to solve problems. You can see that just by chatting with her. And so John D has kind of put his foot in his mouth a few times and had to go into hiding because, we all know he's professional, but not always professional. And so that actually has caused some issues with the community. But I see, like, maybe Olivia can easily overcome that. She can be the voice. She knows when to step in. She knows when to step out. And like, we were talking offline, I remember, and the sentiment was like, she's able to go live, hold her own, and she's only been with the company for a little bit of time, didn't even know what a partycade was. Doesn't matter. She's still that good. Like, imagine 6 months from now when she knows the product in and out, how effective she's going to be. That's exciting.
I saw her in person and at work, right? And there was times where, obviously, when you're running a new event, you can get flustered and you can, really lose it or fight or flight. And in that moment, she kind of like reset herself and reprioritized what we needed to do. And she definitely helped coordinate what needed to happen at the on-site event, knowing that, post-event, how much the online side of it also mattered as much as the on-site one. But at the moment, she was just really focused. And so I think I was proud of her at the end of the event, because one of the things she was complaining about is, I need somebody that knows the product to answer these questions. People are coming up to me asking about the difference between a partycade and this and what's on the game list. And as the cashiers or the people doing the point of sales, her and Nicole didn't have that inside information, and the only people that would either be the fans or me and John there, and we were kind of busy all over the place. But you're right. As soon as she knows the product and she can really kind of speak to those things and address the, can we get this? Can we get that?
Right.
I think she'll be able to navigate the ins and outs, because you talk about her experience being at Hasbro. So that's her background for folks that don't know. She was one that launched and helped launch Has Labs and Hasbro Pulse, like cons and things. So that experience is humongous to have in this Arcade1Up space, which is super niche and, you know, just as rabid as fans, but maybe not as widespread as Hasbro. But yeah, I'm excited for her background experience and what's to come. In fact, she's doing another event this coming week. So we get to see another live event happening very, very soon at Comic-Con.
That's very cool. Now, I think what would be nice is to see the community really engage and really own this, right? Because I think the ask is there. We've heard it. We need to get more people in the Facebook groups talking about it, create discussions about specific cabinets that would do really well, and they can see the community feedback. But another key thing about this is an opportunity where, unfortunately, the retailers won't be involved. I say that unfortunately because it's like, it's good and bad. But one of the bad things about, I think, the retailers, it causes more voices. It causes more people in the kitchen that want to demand certain things. So an imaginary example I'm just making up is Walmart saying, yes, we'll do Dragon's Lair, but we require this. You know, we require all these things that actually causes changes to the unit that the community is like, no, we don't want that. But when it's direct to consumer, right? If it's direct to consumer, we're much more in control because Arcade1Up is just selling it directly. And they get it. Arcade1Up themselves get it. At least John does, Olivia does. They understand that idea that we've been discussing. Like, we keep on talking about it. The reason why we talk about it is because of repetition. It needs to be said a million times that when you get the cabinet right, that's when the sales, it appears to us, go really high. There's a reason why Star Wars is amazing. It's not necessarily because of the Star Wars brand. It's because the cab was amazing.
Yeah.
Look at Defender. Like, before Defender came out, anything Arcade1Up did with Defender, no one liked.
It was a miss, yeah.
Yeah. And then they come out with the Partycade and everyone's like, yeah, that like put the Partycade on the map.
I think so. It was a lot of people's first foray into getting that form factor because it was unique to that. It had a lit marquee, you know, the artwork. But most importantly, I think we're seeing the importance of marquee games having the marquee control panels matching and a game list that really complements that. You know, more and more people are looking for, you know, that straight, authentic type of gameplay. So Dragons are really just having a simple control panel and just a simple number of games. Yeah. People are okay with it because it really replicates that side of things. And we're moving away from, I know the legacies have like 10, 12, that's their model games to have that multi-K feature force of it. But yeah, I think now that there's been noise for it, I think there could be some movement for a Defender, you know, proper controlled version of it. And it's tough because they already have the reskin Midway Legacy version of MK2. Do you think they would do it and just do a straight kind of larger Partycade with that game list?
I think so. It's possible that maybe they would just delay it a little bit. Like, you know, they work on it now, get the form factor right, maybe release it next year, add a little bit of space between it. And I don't think we'll see Dragon's Lair type of delays, right? Like 2-3 years it took, you know, from when the petition started to it actually came out. I think there was a couple reasons why there was a delay. First, the screen kind of changed everything. Like that secondary screen switching to the alphanumeric just kind of shifted everything. And really, Arcade1Up put Dragon's Lair on the back burner for a good reason. We're in the middle of chip shortages, and you know, likely they were like, we have to focus on scale. We have to focus on cabinets that are going to move at retail because they're afraid. They're afraid of losing all of that potential money and going under during a very difficult time. And this is what I think is happening. They've switched. It's flipped 100%. Almost 100%. They're like, wait a second. The drive for retail and mass sales is hard to do. Think about it. Star Wars Trilogy. If it came out at retail, it'd probably be $6.99. And it wouldn't sell as well.
Yeah.
And so forget that title for a little bit. Wait for cost of goods to come down where you can get Star Wars Trilogy at $4.99 with all of the things that you want, you know, really good stick and good monitor. And then you can sell it at retail and it'll do well. But what you can do in the meantime is focus on the fans and get very niche cabinets that they could price at a reasonable price, $649 or $549, right? And it doesn't have to have 80,000 sales. It doesn't have to have 500,000 sales. You know, it can have 3,000. It can have 5,000, and we love it. And Arcade1Up makes a good bank on it because they're not sharing it with they're not selling it at wholesale.
You know what's also interesting is that even though we're a niche community within the YouTube space and the videos that we make and what we want to hear, even the petition, it's interesting, like a title that has that niche following but can also reach the general mass market. Like what does have something that potentially somebody could hear about it and be like, oh yeah, I recognize that. Q*bert might be a good example of that because a new generation of folks were introduced to Q*bert because of the Wreck-It Ralph movies, right? And so it's like, hey, I recognize that character at the very least. Something like Defender though, it's something that growing up, I completely missed that cabinet in the arcade. So for me, in terms of the general market, even though at the time it might have been like a top 10 arcade game that was very popular, for me, I have like zero nostalgia because I've never played in the arcade. I've never seen it in the arcades that I've been to. So, you know, and maybe this is just me, right? Like what can mass penetrate the market? A Dragon's Lair title, again, probably was niche, but you hear it and somebody who's still random would probably have known what that cabinet was. So I think we had to think about titles that potentially for them could also reach a new market. And I think about like when they do Facebook promoted posts, for example, they've been doing a lot of that recently where it's like, let's show the NBA Jam Shack cab or this cabinet. And there's some posts that just get tons of shares and tons of likes. Like NBA Jam is still very mass market appealed cabinet that gets tons of shares like, hey, did you hear about this? But other niche cabinets don't have that same engagement. So I think it's something to think about when we look at new cab titles, like what could penetrate that mass market too.
That's right. So engagement on a specific title is really important. And there's some chatter in the chat. I want to make some clarification about, you know, Star Wars will sell at any price. There's comments like, and I agree with that in general, but what we're talking about is a formula, right? Arcade1Up is it's trying to look for the formula where they get 3x the sales that they normally would expect, right? And that's what I'm talking about, right? So to be able to make a ton of money off of it, I think the Star Wars Atari like was just perfect timing. Not only the market was right for it, the price was right, and I mean like at that time they could manufacture that cab at an inexpensive price, and $499 as a launch price with that title. Mass market at Walmart, they all made a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
But now, if they were to re-release that cabinet right now, they'd probably have to raise the rate, and they may not even make as much money, right? So if you know you have a title coming and you're in a difficult period where you're going to get less sales because you have to charge more, right? And I do believe that yes, they could sell it at any price, but they probably can't sell the quantities that they did before at that price, right?
Yeah.
Like, you try to sell it at, you know, $650, you're not going to sell as many as the original trilogy did at $499 and then $450. 19K Fox, what is going on? You heard us talking about Star Wars. So
Star Wars AVP, that's it. Just take my money. So, no, it's an interesting discussion. I love the effort on Arcade1Up's part to kind of get some feedback. Oh, B, I know, buddy. I see you.
What's going on, man?
Stuck in the middle. I had to bring this up.
I love being a sandwich, so.
It's a B sandwich.
Hi
to the chat. How the hell are you? I want to ask you guys, I want to ask the chat, did anybody have a chance to fill out that survey from Arcade1Up?
Oh, the survey.
Yeah.
I've got that pulled up.
Yes.
I wanted to bring just a few things to your attention. And kind of, it was very, some of the questions were sort of generic, trying to sort of quantify who was answering the survey, you know, where you live and how many Arcade1Up teams. But they really started to drill down. I think it was actually the first question. They wanted to know how many cabinets that you had within each form factor, 3/4 scale, head-to-head. Very, very pointed question there. Wanted you to fill that out
you want to share your
as
screen?
Many times.
Do you have it where you can share?
Yeah, you know what? I can do that. I have the power. We have the technology.
Yeah, so if you go to arcade1up.com and you have ever entered their email address, I think that's where the surveys came from, is just if you've entered.
It was, yes. Your email.
Yeah, so here's 19K Fox. Here we go.
First question right off the bat is, how many of each type of Arcade1Up product do you own? Very, very specific. And then you could actually come in and just put as many as you have within that category. I thought that was interesting to lead with that. And then the very second question, now this is where they're really trying to drill down to figure out what it is that you want. They're not asking for turtles or any particular brands or whatever.
Yep.
They want to know what type of game you're into. What are you interested in? What do you want? Rank them from importance, number 1 to number whatever. Pinball's on here, but they want to know about driving games, racing games. They want to know about shooters, beat 'em ups. They want to really know what types of games we're into. So I found these 2 questions really, really important. Some sort of generic questions. How many times do you play and all that? And if you scroll down, what is the primary motivation when purchasing an Arcade1Up product? It ranges from nostalgia to the look to the design, really trying to figure out what drives someone to get one of their cabinets. So I was encouraged by it. I actually did a community post and said, hey, if this comes up in your email, take the time to go ahead and fill it out. I think that some people were like, wow, they gave you like a 15% off or something. That's not a good deal.
$25.
Yeah. And they were like, oh, that's not some great deal. I'm like, no, you're missing the point. That wasn't the point. The point was the feedback that they were looking for was very specific. So if you had a chance, I hope everybody took the time to fill it out. So, but I just
found it still open until the 19th, so you have 2 more days to do it. And it's good points, 19K Fox. When I saw it, I was surprised that it was, and it was weird because the email itself was marketed with the event because it said something about the disclaimer about Red Cross in the email body itself. But when you click on it, it's just a pure informational survey about, just the customers, their kind of categorization. So I'm really curious about what they're going to do with this information. Again, we probably will never see the results of this, but I think we can hope that this is a good direction that they're asking for feedback from the fans and not Absolutely. And I kind of go back to this point, not the mass market that is out there, because I think the last 2 years or year and a half, I would say the marketing team had been trying to expand much more to the casual market. And in the last couple of months, it's really getting back to, rewarding those that have been with the company and getting emails and asking their their long-term fans about what they want. And so I think this is a good move for the company that will trickle down to the masses eventually too. So I love the direction that they're asking for this feedback. It shows that they're at least asking the right questions.
Yeah. So when you filled it out, is there anything that you guys leaned towards when it came to, because it was a fun survey because it made me reflect. Right.
What type of gamer you are?
I had to really reflect on
Are you a real gamer or are you just like the looks of the arcade?
I know, right?
Right. But they didn't really ask that question, right? They really did focus on the game, right? Because it was like, and they categorized it. Like, what type of category of games are you looking for? A shooter game or a racer? And I was looking at it, and I'm pretty sure I gave the beat 'em up a higher number. It's one of those ranking scores where you had to come in here and just keep on picking a different number, right?
1 to 7 or whatever, right?
Right, you had to keep on linking it, and I'm pretty sure I put pinball at the bottom.
I did.
I was like, I'm
too.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm
I
good.
did too. Yeah, I think it's funny. It's like there's the idealistic way you can answer this. Like, generally, what do you gravitate towards? What's your number one? But I had to admit, I had to factor in kind of what Arcade1Up has been doing in the past. And I sort of answered like that. Like, do you want to see more fighters? Well, not necessarily. We got a lot of fighters. So I ranked it lower maybe than my value or my importance is. But, I got to say, I definitely shooters, racers. That's what I want to see more of. So that was my top 2, I believe. Yeah.
You guys aren't a fan of the virtual pinballs? It's like last on your list.
I got one.
It's like
I don't need another one.
You get one, and it's like, well, especially with the
so much more potential what they could do with it, though. So I mean, it was such a big new type of product, right? And so yeah, at the time, but a version 2 of it again could be a different game list, but I could see some improvements that could be made to pinball. I think it's it went a whole new. I mean, obviously, I got one of these things, so it's hard to go back to it. But I like to see the variety of things that they have.
This
to
is a
offer.
good point. What's the order? Because it says rank in order of importance, but is 1 the highest importance? Oh no!
Oh
We did it
no!
backwards. No,
Oh no! No,
I think it's one.
I thought 1 was.
No, I think 1 is the most important.
Yeah, 1
I think
is
that's
most
the way
important.
I answered it. I think.
Then I'm an idiot.
Did
I'm
go
just
backwards?
the idiot.
Did you go backwards? You put
Yeah,
7.
we're gonna get a ton of sports cabinets now.
It's gonna be all pinball, all sports.
or all pinball.
Damn it!
I should read the survey. Now I'm gonna have to fill out the survey
You just
again
gave it
to
7
counter
points
it.
versus like 1 point. Is that how you were thinking about it? Like rank 10 is the highest, sort of.
Like 7 is a bigger number than 1, so it's more important.
Yeah.
than what you
Yeah.
were thinking.
Yeah,
I figured
thought
it
it
was
was a-
When you say rank though, instead of assigning point values, Justin, you're gonna get.
Come on.
But that's okay. That's the survey,
Rookie move.
folks.
Yep.
You got to clarify. You got to be really clean. Garbage in,
Just
garbage out
watch.
when you ask for
Pretty
data.
soon.
Yeah.
Pretty soon it's gonna be like, so we've been listening, and we're focusing all on pinball machines now.
It's gonna be football themed pinball. What? What are we?
Yeah, the library's getting
Yeah,
big,
I think,
man. They have
I
a
think
lot-
everyone
lot of
else
things
is
they can
much
do.
smarter than me. See, he did 1 to 7. There we go.
Yeah, 1 to 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 to 7.
All right, so I know 19K Fox's AVP Star Wars, but I'm wondering. I'm not sure if I know B's. What's your petition cab? If you were to do a petition, what is your petition cab?
I don't know. I think you guys kind of asked me on Michael B's stream about like what
Did we?
potential cab or at least control scheme. I just go back to I said Stun Runner was one of my dream type of cabs.
Yep. Mhm,
I don't know if I would
mhm.
make a petition for it. I think what would I make a petition game for? Actually something that I feel is more plausible that I'm actually really pining for is a Raiden cabinet. I know you already made one,
Oh.
Fox, but a dedicated shmup with several Raiden titles on it.
Took my breath away a little bit there. Yes, Raiden
And
2.
I keep looking at the who makes it. It's Tecmo. I think it's a highly like
It was,
yeah,
it was
and
FabTech.
FabTech, but like right now it's
FabTech
made by
distributed. Right.
yeah, but
And
it's
it was
such a
it's a-
classic shoot 'em up game that everybody I think would recognize, and I still see them in arcades today. Whether it's a version of Raiden 2, Raiden Jet Fighters, there's so many versions of that game that I think would sell. So I would love to see a Raiden cabinet, any version of it.
Absolutely. Raiden 2 is like just one of my favorites. That was like 93, I think 94.
And we don't
And
have
it was-
a ton of dedicated shmup cabinets, right? Like that's a pure
I don't know that they have
shmup themed
any,
cabinet.
do they? I mean, besides 1944.
Unless you count Space Invaders as a shmup.
Right. Or
potentially.
if you count Galaga and Space Invaders, right?
But
I-
there's so many though. There's so many shmups out there. I mean, it is truly its own genre for sure.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a really good petition cab that I would love to see. I almost thought, if not Arcade1Up, I was hoping that iArcade would do it and then they would skin one of their cabs with it because they have great shmups on the iArcade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
they
I
really
would
do.
love to see any company release a Raiden. I can play it on many different things, but I want a Raiden themed cabinet with some art in the
I
marquee.
mean, you're talking
Really
about
cool.
several games, right? So you got the Raidens, the
Raiden
true
1, 2.
arcades. They have the
Mhm.
shooters, or
Raiden Jet.
the fighters and
Mhm.
DX and
Mhm.
all that. Yeah, so there was a ton of them. Yeah, absolutely. I just love the plasma,
work.
like the toothpaste laser from the second one.
Zzz.
That
Yep.
was so awesome.
Purples are good.
Oh yeah, purple's good.
Gradius.
Great.
I remember playing R-Type at the theater when I was a
Oh,
kid.
yeah.
That was a good one. And then we had R-Type at the end on NES, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be like, it's just as good. It's totally just as good.
It's, it's not quite. No.
It's not quite as good.
I see a lot of people asking for some of the more modern titles like Crazy Taxis, House of the Dead. And I know that we go back to the chipset might not be ready yet. What up? I got a foot.
I
picture
wasn't
here
sure
for
if he was
somebody.
ready. He was picking
There
his
you go.
nose, so I was like, oh, he doesn't know I added him.
Oh, the feet.
Hi, Dubs. I just wanted to say hello.
Are you waving at P-Dubs?
Yeah.
Hi, buddy.
Hi.
waving with your feet. That's
Good
great.
to see you.
Hi. Hello. Just a toe.
Is my mic? Is my microphone working today?
It's
Yeah,
working.
you sound
we
good.
hear you.
All right.
Yeah.
I see
good.
Afterburner in the chat. Flight
So
game.
I would ask you, P-Dubs, but I think we already know the answer. What's your petition cabinet?
Hubert.
And- yeah, I think
He's got his wish.
Is there any other like petition going on right now besides Qbert? And that's kind of the thing we were talking about in the show. Really, the theme behind the theme behind the theme is
No, and don't start one because it'll take away from this.
I say
Laser focus, guys. Laser focus.
Justin, let's knock one problem down at a time, okay? Let's
no. I think they need 2 petitions, not to fight, because if you're going to double down on direct to consumer, then that means you're going to come out with 2 direct to consumer cabinets in a year instead of just Dragon Slayer. I would say Dragon Slayer is like really the only one. I think NBA Jam Shaq Edition is like not a fan cab. That's like a partnership with Shaq. It's like its own thing. You know what I mean? Shaq is a company. Shaq is a corporation. And they just as much as they did that deal with Busch beers or whatever with the NBA Jam with a refrigerator in it that Arcade1Up was so ashamed of they didn't even put it on their website. But they're not ashamed of the
expansion
Shaq
marketing team for that whole line of collab stuff that was going on. It was their year of expansion to try to get into new markets, I think. So Shaq might have been like the last version of that. Let's get in and get to the masses.
Right, because I think that was a Bashar deal, I'm guessing.
It was a bit totally Bashir move.
Bashir.
Their old
and then now it's like
guy.
Olivia's like, I love fans. Let's partner with fans. Like, oh, okay.
Yep.
She wants to partner with us. I don't know. I mean, 19K Fox, are you serious about like your petition cab would be AVP? Like that's where you're gonna if you can only do one.
Is that the hill that I'm gonna die on?
Yeah.
I think so.
Honestly, I have gone back and forth. I have a great love for that, but it is CPS2. It will likely happen eventually. They can definitely run it. They've proven that over and over and over again. So is that what I would do? I don't know. If you're talking about a stretch, something they really you have to like sort of reach for. Part of me is like Afterburner, some kind of a flight game, because that's really a big segment they're missing. There's nothing like that. I'm a big Ace Combat fan. I think it was called something else. It was Air Combat back.
Air Combat 22. Yeah.
The Namco System 22. Yep, Namco System 22. So maybe something like that to get a little bit different, to get a unique arcade experience. But petition game, I don't know. It may be Raiden. I mean, honestly, I really, really, really love that game.
Now, is it Raiden specific between you and B? That
it's Raiden 2 for me.
Okay.
The second one is.
Now, would you be happy with any shoot 'em up?
I think that title is very, out of the shoot 'em ups genre, Raiden has to be like one of the most popular top 5 games.
Brand recognition, yeah.
I would say in terms of just reach and that brand.
So if you're gonna do it, you're gonna.
Yeah,
could they do that one? You said it was a.
Yeah, I'm looking
Tecmo?
up who the developed by
Seibu,
but then published by Tecmo in Japan.
Oh, I see.
So, and I don't know who the license holder is currently for that particular game, but it would be anything from the Tecmo series. So I don't think there's any other cabs that we've seen from that group.
So P-Dubs, I'd love to hear your thoughts on kind of this new wave of ideas and thoughts about what came from the charity. I know you've been covering it and following it, but I haven't really heard your thoughts on, I mean, it sounds obvious, more direct-to-consumer involvement is good, right? But what's your prediction of what it means, What's your opinion?
I think it'll be a good way to satisfy your core fans, your, the super fans who buy your product more than one time. But then again, if that's all they're doing, it's also kind of a catch-22, because let's be honest, guys, the general consumer out there, they're not going to want some of these cabinets that we're asking for. You know what I mean? They're going to
probably won't even know that Arcade1Up made them.
Right. Yeah. So I think it helps the super fans, and I mean, I guess we're the most important thing, ain't that right, Fox?
You damn right, buddy.
I mean, you talk about weird combinations. Fox likes Alien vs Predator. I really like Alien vs Predator too, and I also like.
Is there a second game, or do you mean as well?
Well, the Willow arcade game, and with the TV series about to come out, like, wouldn't it be cool
That would be
put
cool.
that
I love the movie.
Just put that on the same cabinet.
Oh,
It's all,
yeah.
it's all
Isn't that
Capcom stuff.
Capcom?
It's
Isn't that a
Willow's
Capcom game?
Willow's Capcom. So
Yeah.
just throw it all on the Capcom Ultimate Movie cabinet. You know,
Dude, I
in
could
your
see that.
multi-game.
It would have one game, right? It's just that
Yeah.
Willow game.
Yeah, it's just that one game.
Wait,
You know,
that's
because
it,
I got to
yeah.
pay for the license. But man, that would be
Is that Willow game any good?
It's
I don't
great.
think I've ever.
Yeah, let us know in the live chat, guys. Have you played the Willow arcade game, the original one? I think it's a fantastic game. What about you guys? Have never tried it, Fox?
I don't
Hey,
remember
I'm looking-
playing it.
Oh yes, I do remember this. Yes, it's
Yeah.
very Capcom-ish. Very. It's got the sprites. Capcom did that thing, right? It has that look. Yeah. Yeah, that's
Okay,
fun.
so
It's a fun game.
It's 1989. We're talking about this.
1989.
This guy,
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Classic.
Let me
And with
the
the
movie.
and with the
Remember the
TV
game.
show about to launch, the TV
That's
show's
true.
about to
Oh,
launch.
yeah.
I mean, why not, man? Why not? You
Yeah,
know, another
Mardigan.
Capcom would be the Dungeons and Dragons games. Like, wouldn't mind seeing those on a dedicated cabinet as well. So,
See, look at that. Look
But
at
I
that
like-
style. It's so cool.
I like the fantasy stuff. You could skip ahead to where he's like running around and blasting things. So,
That's a little platformer, huh?
yeah,
Fun.
Yeah. It's a good game.
Think like Ghosts and Ghouls, Ghosts and Goblins. That kind of.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting because it would be, well, here's the thing, just like you're saying, like, will there be a resurgence of Willow fans that come out of the dark, right? That are like,
Yep.
oh, I forgot. Like, that's happened to me where I'm trying to think of, I think Final Fight was an example where before Arcade1Up came out with Final Fight, I was like, I saw the Final Fight cab announcement and I was like, yeah, I'm not really interested in that game. Like, I never played it, you know. And then I saw I looked up the gameplay and I'm like, oh my god, yes, Final Fight, of course. Like, it was like this mental block. Like, all of a sudden it was like, I remember going laser tag with my cousin, and then we played Final Fight at the arcade, you know. And I was like, remember what year it was? And it was like, and then I remember playing it on Super Nintendo, right? And then Sega, and it was like, I'd forgotten, you know. But I wonder if there's a ton of people out there that are like haven't watched the movie Willow in a really long time, and all of a sudden, you know, the new series comes out, and they're like, I gotta watch Willow, and they're like, oh yeah, that was like one of my favorite movies of all time, you know.
You know, if
I
the
should get the
if
arcade
series
for it
is-
too.
If the series is good, it could potentially have some good crossover. But if the new series is bad, it may kill any chance this game has to kind of get off the ground.
I just think about like the game lineup that you have in your current arcade with your like some of the heavy arcade games, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and next to it is Willow. For folks that don't know the title of the game, right? I don't think arcade the first time I hear that particular title, but it is cool looking at it. I don't think I ever played the arcade game, but it's cool that you
Yeah.
can be Val Kimmer.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Hell yeah.
I love me some Val.
Mad Mardigan.
Mad Mardigan.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Now I want to watch that movie.
Such a good. That's a great movie, man.
I
great
think
movie.
I watched
great
it
movie.
a couple years ago.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
But you know,
Yeah.
we got the Willow TV series coming out. They got the Rings of Power on Amazon coming out. You know, like it's awesome, man. All the Star Wars series on Disney Plus.
It's a good time to be alive, huh?
Man, we're spoiled. We're spoiled. If we're not
right.
if we're not playing video games, there is something cool to watch on the television set. That's for sure.
That's right.
So
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty fantastic. It's kind of cool what the streaming wars is actually like. A lot of people complain like, you can make a joke, sure, yeah, like, hey, I subscribe to Disney Plus, Hulu, HBO Max, Peacock, but I don't have cable anymore. But the bill's just the same. I'm like, yeah, but the content's better.
yep.
Like,
Yeah, I
that's
would
a
agree with
fact.
that,
Like
yeah.
20 years
Yeah.
ago, the content wasn't this good, so we're doing something right.
It's true.
Like, more of the money is just simply going to the content creators, but then we're also paying more, right? We technically are paying way more because we're paying a lot for high-speed internet now. So just to deliver that content to us
This is
through gaming,
true.
we're paying that. We're paying the data.
I was so
didn't really
skeptical,
play that.
honestly, when streaming services first came out, when Blockbuster Total Access was like just starting to try it out. And I was like, there's no way people are gonna wait 5 minutes for a movie to download, and now it's like all instantaneous. So I was like, oh, okay. I banked on the wrong thing back
But
then.
when you go back to like, oh, you had Dish or DirecTV or just cable, you know, back in the day, and you paid whatever price.
Yeah.
You didn't get in 4K HDR either. So
That's true.
there's that.
That's true.
We had an old, like the I don't know if this is the first satellite dish. I lived out in the country, right, middle of East Texas, middle of nowhere, and the satellite dish would actually have to move.
Oh,
to
you're talking
find
about analog.
to,
This is before digital.
hit a toggle switch and look outside and make sure that the cows aren't next to the dish as it moves. It was I'm old, kids. I'm an old.
You have to
person.
bend a little antenna and have somebody stand next to it to like.
That was and then
a little bit
hold
over.
up, stand on one leg and pizza tin foil. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a different.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody just said the last Starfighter cab. Like that's not a
I
real
love
cabinet,
that
but
game.
that would be a
I mean,
fun.
the movie, but
fun
did they ever
movie.
make a game? Did they ever make a game?
No, it's just like a fake movie
I would
cab.
freaking
But I've seen
love that.
Imagine,
I've
though?
seen customs of
I would
it.
love that.
I just saw a custom
Is
version
that
of
is
it.
that movie really good though?
Listen, I had that movie playing
that
on a
movie's
loop in my
great. What are you
arcade.
talking about?
I love that movie. That is great. Oh, that
So
movie's
good.
great, dude.
You are now
Talking about-
part of the Armada. What is it?
Did you
Yes.
did you like Wing Commander with Freddie Prince Jr. as well?
No,
or
I did
Fox?
not.
I
mean,
like the
I
One
did not.
Commander
Yeah.
games,
The
but
Wing
Yeah.
Commander.
That
Wing
game
Commander
looks
game.
good. If it's
Yeah.
not a real game, they should. Did
Look at
anyone
that.
make
It
it?
looks so great, man.
they have a computer PC version of it that you can play. That's very similar. It's like in a replica of it, so you can play it on
Yeah.
your keyboard mouse. I actually mapped it to play with a yoke just to like do it for fun.
It's
It's
so cool.
pretty fun game, but it's actually
Yeah.
the real controls on the actual stick. There's a thruster and then there's a joystick. So it's a thruster joystick game, and it's very difficult to control.
Make
But
a
It's a great
petition.
movie. It's a great movie.
Make a
It's
fake
great
arcade
movie.
game?
I don't know if it's a good
Yes.
game, but it's a great
Yeah,
movie.
let's do it.
Yes, it's such a unique shaped cab. The customs of them are freaking fantastic. They're
There's
super
that
cool.
one scene in the movie where he's standing there about to play, and
Let me pull up. I just saw it today. on Facebook. I'll pull up somebody's custom version of it right now.
Okay.
the
go for it.
camera's way back, and the cabinet is like 4 feet deep. It's insane. It's crazy. It's obviously a fake, cabinet, but it was like, wow, is that real? And I always wanted to see if there's one in my arcade, and it didn't
Ooh,
exist.
I'm looking through it.
No,
Okay,
deal.
check this out. So, Last Starfighter, according to Wikipedia, now it says it was distributed by Universal, but don't be fooled by that, right? You got to go who made the movie. And it's this production company. Is the production company the ones going to own it, or is they the ones that just made it?
Oh, you mean Lairmore?
Let's go with Lairmore. If you
Yeah,
go with
Lairmore,
Lairmore, that's
yeah.
Warner Brothers, and that's Mortal Kombat. That's Midway,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
could they go to Midway and be like, "Can you make it happen?"
Develop a Last Starfighter game.
And then
That'd be
who
fun.
made? Was that just like a fan game?
Look at that.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
That's
dude.
awesome.
Somebody made that as like so the post here
Oh,
was
that's so
somebody
cool.
was made a version of a panel that looks like this. So this is their kind of custom panel they designed
Wow.
and to make it a Starfighter theme cabinet, which I think looks great. This is like a party cake custom Benjamin Hitbar. And then in the comments, this guy Rudy Norton was just like, doesn't even say anything, he just drops this like bam. Like
Dude.
that's so amazing.
Oh, that's so
you can
cool.
see the control. It looks super awesome.
That is cool looking. That is.
I would love to have like Death Blossom as a separate button. You can only push it like once,
Mhm,
That would
mhm.
be so cool.
Look at all the lights and buttons. It's so cool.
It's like the Knight Rider dash. None of the buttons do anything, but they're there and they look great.
Yeah, and he's definitely running the PC version that's like there as the fake game on there. But I mean, it's just a really cool looking cabinet. I want unique
Very
shaped,
cool.
fun cabinets. So I know this is such a tangent, but it probably will never happen because it's not a real game. But it just looks really cool.
So what
That'd be-
about? Do you remember that game? What's the name of the game? And maybe those in the chat can help me out. It's the game where you look at the cabinet and it looks like it's literally on wheels, right? It's on. It's almost like, what's it called? Like a tank. It's like a tank game. It has two controls, and you go up to it, and you have to move your controls like this to make your vehicle move. And so you're moving around, but the actual cabinet itself looks like a little tank. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Desert
Anyone?
Bar?
Yes, Vindicators.
Vindicators.
I don't think I've seen one of those.
Sounds
Okay.
familiar.
I did see one at the captain's auction. I know the game. I don't think I've seen the cab though.
Sounds
Okay,
familiar.
Vindicators Arcade.
Why
this
do I
is
know that
great.
name?
Okay,
Everyone's
Fun
saying
arcade
Battle
game.
Zone.
Vindicators.
Is that it?
There's a lot of
Yeah.
tank games like Vindicators.
That's cool.
There's also
Oh, it's only-
TNK.
It's only $5,000.
Uh,
That's a
you
bargain.
see how it looks like a tank?
Oh,
Oh, that's cool. A
pretty
track
cool, huh?
vehicle. That's so cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
that's not it. But let me see if I can pull up the game. The game, it's kind of early. I want to say it's an 80s game. So it's a pretty early arcade kind of see the controls. So you have the.
So you have this in your garage right now, Justin? Is this where this is going?
No,
Is that why you're
I've
bringing
just
this
seen
up?
it.
Yep.
I've seen it when you look at like $500. It's amazing. It's a few $1,000s for sure. Like you'll see it on Facebook Market or in the arcade groups, and it's like $3,000 or $5,000. There's this threshold, right, where there's a lot of these cabinets that you can get for like $500 or $1,000, and then there's these cabinets that are like, you want it? It's $5,000.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, there's also another tank game called Assault that might be similar. But yeah, there's a good number of tank games, dual stick games. I have a dual stick tank playlist. So Assault, Vindicators, TNK3, Battlezone, obviously. Some great tank control games that you can play. Stuff.
that one game that you really want to get, the Stun Gunner. What's that one usually?
Stun Runner?
Stun Runner. Yeah.
And it's been on sale for like less than $1,000, like $500-$600 locally. I just have zero space for it. So no more. I know my wife is trying to buy it. She just said no more.
She chimes in then.
She did. She has a beer in her hand, so it's good. I have two cabinets downstairs that I just came in the mail, so I have to get rid of some stuff.
Yeah,
Make
everything
space.
I want is way. It's like I won't own it. Like I saw a Super Nintendo kiosk, and it was like, I want to own the Super Nintendo kiosk. Oh,
Yeah.
$5,000. Okay. And it's like, oh, you can get one for $500, but it doesn't come with anything. Like you have to, like, you know, it comes with the core unit, and you gotta rebuild everything. I'm like, no. If it was like $1,000, I would get it. It'd be done. And then also, when you go find those deals, this is kind of the argument against arcades. It's like, the more rare it is, the more unlikely you're not going to find it in your area. And you will find it. It'll be more expensive, and then you got to pay to ship it. And so I've been looking, you know, I see cabinet. I'm like, oh, I want that cab. It's $3,000. The guy's like, you got to pay for shipping though if you want to buy it. I'm like, and then I reach out to the company, and they're like, it used to be like just even a year ago, like Ralph would reach out to me. He's like, oh, do you know about this company? They do shipping, you know? And I'm like, okay. So I reach out to a couple places that I wanted to buy cabs, and they're like, oh, $300 to ship that. And it's like half across the United States.
You're like,
I've been
awesome.
reaching out to them recently, and it's like, no, it's $1,000 to ship that.
Oh, ouch. Yeah.
The only deal I have is I know a guy in Missouri that will deliver a cabinet to me for $200. So if I find one in Missouri, I can
Unless you
reach
get the
out to
help.
him, and he'll be like, next time I'm in my area, he's in an area, he'll
I've
deliver
had
a
my
cabinet.
wife try to help me like move cabinets before, and like I had this pinball machine. I'm like, hey, help me carry this pinball machine off the truck, and then she's like, no. But
She's like, no.
yeah,
That's a smart
she's,
woman.
She's super strong. But yeah, I actually do have to take off because I'm gonna actually go pick up somebody.
Enough to break a base.
Yes, she's strong enough to break a base of a cabinet. But somebody, I've been on Facebook Marketplace looking for a Star Wars riser to buy, and somebody's selling their riser for their original for Star Wars Arcade1Up, and I'm gonna go pick it up because I wanted to convert my sit down into a stand up. Because I originally converted my stand up into a sit down, and now like I don't have the space. I want to move it back up, and I got rid of the original riser. So I'm gonna take
full
off.
circle.
It did. It went full circle. Yeah.
AB, just do me a favor. Make sure you have the shoes on during this mod project.
Yes.
No, it never happened. It never happened. But really quickly, for folks that don't know, next week on Thursday, if you didn't see it, Arcade1Up is going to be at San Diego Comic-Con. They are hosting an event at a local brewery in North Park, right above Comic-Con, and it's somewhat local to me. It's like 2 hours away, but I'm going to be making the trek down there. So hopefully next Thursday nights, I will be there to report out and see what's happening on the scene. We can bring a little bit of Comic-Con Arcade1Up to the folks. They will also be inside the Lucas Pavilion, I think with only the Star Wars pinball machine because it's their only machine there, but otherwise that's the presence they have. I'm trying to convince them and see if they can bring anything fun, because if you're at a big event like that, there's no better place to show off something new to the masses. So hopefully that'll be fun on Thursday, but I will see you guys later. Thank you guys for having me on. Talk to you guys soon.
See you later.
See ya. So those of you in the chat that don't know, go check out Kongs or Us. If you're not a subscriber, he's talking about how he's got these special events with Arcade1Up coming out next Thursday, and you definitely do not want to miss out on that. But what do you guys think of a Sinistar dedicated Arcade1Up? Could Arcade1Up do it? Could that be the next petition cab that overthrows Qbert?
It probably would overthrow Qbert. So don't start it until the Qbert situation is resolved. I would greatly appreciate that myself personally.
Now, I was thinking about it. Now, I wanted to make sure it's clear. the thumbnail, like I feel bad for making the thumbnail that I did, where it's
Why?
like, I want it
Why?
now.
Hey, console kids, can I tell you something? Honestly, when I saw your thumbnail, I was disappointed. I was like, this isn't his best stuff. Like, what is going on here?
I threw it together. It's funny. I wrote a show outline, and I kept on, because I was last minute. I was editing a video. My show outline was, do we need fewer games? Will Arcade1Up make Shredder's Revenge? And I just took that out. Is Q*bert the next Dragon's Lair? And so what I do is basically come up with a title like that, or kind of theme ideas, and then within 10 minutes, I'm always reduce, simplify. And I came up with new fans are demanding new cabinets. And I had this entire thought, this concept, this idea that, with everything that we're learning that Liv is behind, I think we're going to see a ton of more things like your Q*bert. Almost like my thumbnail is saying, like, I think we're going to get Q*bert. I think we may actually get it. The demand is there, like in the polls, like it's high up.
It is the cabinet that will keep Arcade1Up from going out of business. We've already agreed on that on many podcast shows.
Yeah, but now I'm thinking ahead. I'm like, okay, cool. Q*bert's coming. Sounds good. What's the next Q*bert? And then
Sinistar would be cool, honestly. Like I got the Catalina wine mixer arrived the other day, so playing Sinistar on the Defender Partycade obviously doesn't have the right controls for it, but a couple of my viewers told me, they said, hey, P-Dubs, just plug in, because it's got the USB port, plug in an Xbox controller, and with the analog stick, you'll get kind of a better experience. And I plugged it in, and it did make a big difference. So although it doesn't have the correct controls on the Defender Partycade for Sinistar, it's still a super fun play. Like, this is a game that I never really experienced before, but you really get into it. Like, it really hooks you, especially when you hear the voice and the guy's monsters coming to get your ass. You know what I mean? Like, it's intense. So we're all becoming fans of that game. So,
I think it's like, despite the controls, you still, the game, like in the Partycade, you can have an amazing Sinistar experience. You can complain about the controls, or you can just shut up and enjoy the game because it's that good. So I've been playing it like on Sega Genesis, which was ported by Digital Eclipse, the same company that does the Moo emulator. And even in the late 80s, 90s, when they ported it to Sega, so I guess it'd be 90s, they made that game, they tweaked it so that like the Sinistar version on Sega Genesis, it's like the animations on the little, what are they called? The Cinnabons?
Did you say Cinnabon?
Yeah, the Cinnabuns that you have to go collect. They don't sparkle as much on the Sega Genesis version. Other than that, like it feels like the same game. And then the sounds feel pretty darn close, but they did adapt the game so it works on a D-pad. And so you kind of get that quicker spin like you do more like on the original versus if you're playing it with an 8-way. So I actually had a lot of fun. You can try this, P-Dubs. Try Sinistar. Do you have the Sega Intech Gaming?
No, I do not.
Okay, if you ever come across or whatever, if you hook up the mini console, you get the Midway Archives or Classic on your Sega Genesis on your Arcade1Up, and it actually plays really well.
You're talking about the cartridge one?
Yeah.
You just
or a mini console, because you just throw it on the Sega Genesis Mini and hack your Mini.
I got all that up there. I got that.
Like Sinistar plays really well on Sega Genesis, is what I'm saying. Like people are gonna scream and be like, "Oh, you're playing the console version." I'm like, "Shut up!" Digital Eclipse, who's professional at this, ported it. They're literally still doing emulation to this day.
Okay.
For Arcade1Up, by the way. They did it back in the 90s, and it's fantastic. But they have that on, like, I think Wii U and Wii, and I don't know. They did the porting for basically everything. But you gotta go, 19K Fox?
I have to go. Okay, so there's this little thing going on my channel. It's called the This Week Show. Every single week, 9 o'clock on Sunday nights, we have a little bit of a shindig. I drink some bourbon. I get into some trouble, which tonight I'm going to be some trouble. Yeah, for sure. So make sure you stick around here until Justin wraps it up and then swing on by my place so we can get in trouble together.
You know what we should do?
He's got to mentally prepare for the show. That's what it is, right?
I have to pour my drink. That's what I
But hang out here, guys, because
I have to redirect. Hang on
And I
here.
have it redirected to
Yes.
your show, so we're
Stay here.
gonna P-Dubs and I are gonna.
I'm
talk
gonna go,
for
but
the
you
next,
stay.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Next 50 minutes we'll chat, and then we'll redirect into your show. Well, I'll hang out with you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh God, finally he's gone. So
I know. He could have just stayed because what he doesn't realize, Justin, is we're just going to go on his show in just a few minutes. Right? when
Did he
starts.
link out what his? Did I don't know if he shared his link though.
We'll have him. We'll tell him. We'll be like, hey, send us the link. He'll send us the link.
But he prepares his monologues. I don't know if we can disrupt his monologue. Right?
he'll bring
it's
us
a
in-
solo show.
He'll bring us in after the monologue.
All
Right.
right.
When the PowerPoint presentation begins.
Yeah, but that's like 45 minutes into the stream when his monologue finishes. That's why he has to do that interruption, because he's all like, I have a presentation. Dude, he's like a project manager at work, I swear. So he's all like, it's like he's on a Zoom call, he's got a PowerPoint up, and he's doing his podcast. It probably blurs the line. And then he gets a super.
Fox.
I bet at work, he's like, waits for those super chats. And he's like, hold on, guys. I'm giving my presentation on the new architecture for this new development that we're doing, but I got a comment in the Zoom chat by Billy. Now let's read
Think
it.
about it.
Should I throw him in the pit?
when he dances for the ladies at the club, like they throw the money, he doesn't stop. He's like, I will pick it up when I'm done. I will get to the cash on the stage. He doesn't just stop what he's doing to pick it up. The super chat cash. He just he takes his time. He's like, wait till the dance is over, ladies, and then I'll address your $20 tip. That's what we know about Fox.
Let me
That's what we know
finish
about
my
it.
monologue.
Exactly. Let me finish this lap dance, and then I'll get to the tip.
We like to make fun of him because the truth is we know he's really good at what he does. So it's like he can take it. And we also know he's not watching right now because he's got to mentally prepare for his show.
Just a couple glasses of bourbon, and he'll be fine. He'll be ready to go. Yep.
So
All right.
those in the live chat, we've been neglecting the live chat like crazy, and I'm so sorry. We got a console fanboy super chat from an hour ago. Too many games can sometimes ruins the uniqueness of the control panel. More attention should be focused on unique control panels. Dual stick Smash TV, for example. Well, what's your thoughts, Mr. Patrick?
Do that again. I was responding to somebody in your live chat. Sorry.
That's okay. The concept is, unique control panels are needed. Example, dual stick Smash. How important are accurate controls when it comes to home arcade?
I think for at least, if they're making a cabinet that's only got a couple of games, it's so much easier to accomplish, right? When you look at something like this, when you make a multicade, it's got like 10 games or so. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, right? But as long as the title game, you have a really good experience, like the Defender Partycade, right? Great example. I just got this thing. It's the only arcade cabinet that I own out of 20 arcade cabinets in my house that have the appropriate controls in the appropriate positions to play the game. And it's the best Defender experience I've had since owning that cabinet, right? But then there's some sacrifices, right? Because you don't have the correct joystick for Sinistar. You don't have, for Gorf, you're supposed to have the the flight stick thing, right? Like, and you're using the joystick for Gorf. So you're making some sacrifices. When the more games you put on, the more control sacrifices you have to make. So it's tough.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
it's tough.
If you look at your Qbert petition, we're assuming, and I think this would be accurate, if they did it, it would only have Qbert games on it where the controls they could just nail, which could be a good test to be like, if we do fewer games, but we nail the cabinet, like we do a knocker, we do it right, it works on all the games, could it actually be amazing?
Yeah, there's other games they could put on the Qbert cabinet. Like, you just look at like the J-Rock boards, which are, have all the diagonal games on them. There's like 12 to 20 games. And there's games like Crawl, Three Stooges that you could put on that cabinet. But the more crap you put on there with more licensing costs, well, then there goes the quality of the controls. I would rather they just do Qbert Cubes, Mellow Yellow Qbert, Faster Harder Qbert, make it a four game cabinet and have an amazing knocker. And they have to replicate the Qbert joystick itself was unique. It's not a traditional joystick, so have the correct Qbert joystick in there as well. So, like, I would rather they spend the money on that versus let's load it up with 12 diagonal games, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and I would buy that cabinet. I would, knowing that it's got a great knocker inside of it. It's got a pretty good replication joystick of the Qbert joystick. And then also 4 great games that should be pretty easy to emulate. I mean, if you can't get Qbert right, something's wrong with you. If you can't emulate Qbert.
Yeah. I don't think they would have an issue with that, you know. It would be a slam dunk, if you will, a grand slam, you know, if they could get enough sold, and I think maybe that's what they're worried about. But, you know, maybe the petition will help with that, help them alleviate. But it's also like, there's also another set of people that I think, and I'm kind of in this boat. If the cabinet is like, it's almost like OCD. It's like, if I know the cabinet is great, because I'm more of a collector, I don't play every day. I mean, I have so many gadgets and I don't know, mods that improve the quality of my Nintendo or Super Nintendo, N64. Like, I modded HDMI on my N64 immediately when the Ultra HDMI mod came out. It's an extremely complex mod. We're talking these ribbon cables that you have to put on these very fine points. I never played the Nintendo 64, but I know I have the best Nintendo 64 experience. I don't know, it's a weird techie collector mindset. But my point is, if they got the cabinet just right, it would be an honor to own a Qbert. That's
it
me.
would be. It would be.
I think there's some people like that too.
It would be an honor for all of you. Just think about it. You guys could sleep easy at night, like knowing you did the right thing. Like, should I have purchased this cabinet? You know, there was a bunch of dudes on YouTube pushing this petition. I signed it, and you know, I put my credit card up, you know, on, and now I got this bright yellow ass cabinet in my house. Did I do the right thing? Well, let me tell you something. You did the right thing, because I'll have my Qbert cabinet, and so will you. But me having it, slightly more important. So
it sounds so weird when you say it like that. But here's the thing. In reality, like, another popular one people are talking about is a Spy Hunter, which I don't know if they would make it like this, because if they made it like that, it would be like Tron looking, you know, kind of boxy looking. It would be pretty sweet. And that's a fan favorite game, and you can't screw this up, right? It has to have the controls like that. If this is, I don't know too much about Spy Hunter, but at least the picture we're looking at, it's a vertical game. Kind of seems right.
Yeah, I think people would be excited about that. But whatever happened to all those rumors about the Smash TV? Because I keep seeing people talking about that in your chat, Justin. What happened to the Smash TV Robotron twin stick? Was it a twin stick cabinet they were going to be doing or something?
I mean, I think it's very possible that it will come, because when we had John D on, and we played this rapid fire game, in the end, and I'm going to try to do better next time we play rapid fire. It's almost like word association, actually. It's like I say a name of a cabinet, and John D says the first word that comes to his mind. Oh, really? Yeah, it's a really fun game. Like, because he's basically just like, say the first word that comes to your mind, and we said, if I remember correctly, we said Robotron. He said his word was Smash TV.
Nice.
Like, that was the word association. Like, he's like, it's coming. Essentially, the clue from that is it's coming with Smash TV, but
nice.
We'll see.
Nice.
There was a number of them that were really cool. I said Sinistar. He said 49.
Can I ask you something? So, Michael B wants Smash TV and Robotron, but he wants it to be Robotron artwork. Isn't that the petition that Michael B's doing?
Yeah, I don't know if he's actually done the petition, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mike's not really into modding, and if his only way, here's what I think he hopes happens. Sure, do a Smash TV, but then like Mortal Kombat, do a not Sinistar, do a Robotron, where Robotron is the primary and Smash TV is the secondary.
Yeah, he wants the Robotron artwork without having to mod it if it like came with Smash TV.
But I think he would mod it if that was his only option.
I don't know. The only thing I've ever seen
in the chat, dude, join the show. If you can chat, you can join the show. What is wrong with Nostalgia? He's like, he does the Super Game Room dudes, but nothing else.
Yeah.
He's a really nice guy. He's
Yeah.
really kind and loving, even though there's people. It's funny. He's the weirdest. He's a really interesting person. We all make fun of him, but it's because we all know he wants us to make fun of him. Like, he enjoys it.
Yeah.
And so we do that for him.
Yeah. You ever hear the phrase, don't feed the trolls? We feed nostalgia all the time. We feed it a lot.
But we enjoy it because we know he, like, loves it, you know?
He does.
But-
He loves the attention. He does. But I'm throwing it in your live chat real quick. Do you guys want Smash TV artwork or Robotron artwork? Keep in mind, Michael B's feelings are on the line. I got to tell you, after comparing the artwork of both cabinets, Justin,
Yeah.
Smash TV, I think, would look better in my game room. Like, it's got killer artwork on it. I'm thinking Smash TV artwork would look great. Let us know in the live chat, guys.
All right, I'm going to make a poll real quick. There we go.
Michael B's going to get a little mad. He's going to be a little mad if Robotron loses, guys. But
All right, so in the poll, if you want to, I said which cab gets the main title, Robotron or Smash TV. We got some votes coming in. Make sure you hit that vote, and
Get 'em
we'll
in
end
there.
the poll in just a little bit. We only
Get 'em
have
in
5
there.
more minutes to the end of the show, and then it's time for 19K Fox.
oh yeah, we love Fox. Fox has done such a good job over the last year, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Fantastic. He's very enjoyable to listen to. I listen to a lot of. I've been listening to a lot of Gaming Historian when I drive around town, and I don't even need to watch. Like, he's that good. Gaming Historian. You can take a topic. This week I listened to the story of Super Mario World. Fantastic. And the other one was the story of Super Mario Bros. The movie, and it talked all about. Oh
That
my gosh,
disaster.
it's the disaster about how they hired. Like, Nintendo basically said they don't want the money. They don't care about the money for the movie, so they picked like the production company that only wanted like $1 million or $3 million for the license. And they kept on going through directors and producers, and the script was literally changing several times through sets. All of the actors were just drunk and gave up on the movie. They stopped reading their lines. They didn't care because they knew the movie was going to change that day they were filming it, and it was a complete disaster. It's an example, I think, of a movie where their production was so poor, like the project was so inefficient, you could see it on the screen. And but it's a great story. Anyway, my point is 19K Fox is like that, where you don't even really need to watch his podcast. You can go in the car, put in your phone. I have this is one of the reasons I have YouTube Premium, is because you can put the phone to sleep, you know, and still hear.
Yeah.
And 19K Fox is just amazing to just listen to.
Yeah. Yeah, he's all right. I mean, I said he was good, but you didn't have to overhype him like that.
Well, I'm just saying, there's like, I've listened to myself, and I'm not great. I have a good mic, but sometimes I'm like, can you see this on the screen? It's amazing. And I'm listening, I'm like, great. Someone who's just listening to this has no clue what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, he's come a long way, and I'm really happy we call him a friend, and B's channel is doing really well right now as well, you know.
Yep.
Uh-oh, did you just spill?
I'm good. I'm good.
Did you, not on the
I
electronics, right?
I knocked. Let's see. Zohar has to. Let's see. He wants me to play. All right, guys. I'll do this. I hope Anthony Vitale is okay with this, but Anthony Vitale has a video to give him proper props.
Look!
I'm going to give a
Look at
link in the description, a link in the chat. Make sure you give him a view. Let him know he's a growing content creator. Give him a like. Give him a subscribe like I have. He does amazing videos because he's a graphic designer, and he does 3D modeling of what Arcade1Up cabinets could look like. Here's his video of Smash TV. Could it be real? He's showing you what an Arcade1Up Smash TV cabinet could look like if they came out with it. In fact, I think he's so good, John D could probably reach out to him and be like, hey, tweak this, tweak that, boom, let's ship it, right? Like, that's a freaking Arcade1Up cabinet that we're seeing on the screen.
I want this.
This
Yes.
guy knows how to make 3D modeling, even has it figured out for the size, the dimensions, what it would look like. Like, literally, hit one in the chat if you would buy this as is, this version right here.
I would. It just looks like the arcade cabinet you're going to bring into your house, and it's going to kick every other arcade cabinet's ass in your house. Like, it's the bad boy of arcades right here. Like, I would totally get this.
That's right. So we got 100 votes in for the Smash TV versus
Where did it end
Robotron.
up? Where did it end up?
56% say Smash TV, while 43 say Robotron. So it's very, very close.
That's all right.
It's
Sorry, guys. How many times did Michael B vote for Robotron? We'll have to find out.
He like logged into all his email addresses with YouTube and was like, Robotron,
No.
Robotron, Robotron, Robotron. I think it's time, guys.
We gotta send him. We gotta send him to the den of the fox, man. We gotta send him to the fox den.
Right. So, do you have any final thoughts, P-Dubs? Give us your final thoughts.
Just keep on gaming, guys. This is supposed to be fun, retro gaming, have fun, positive energy, all that kinds of stuff. Thanks so much, Justin, for letting me hop on for a couple of minutes. And make sure you guys don't go anywhere. We're going to send you right over to 19K Fox right after this.
That's right. Thank you so much for hanging out for this show. Get loud, guys. If you want a specialty cabinet, now is your time. This is exactly when Arcade1Up is listening. Go into the Facebook groups, make your polls, make your I would really love this cabinet, get some petitions together, and spam it out there. The highest vote's going to win. I think they're going to get a couple cabinets out there, and it's going to be fantastic. And then hopefully they don't stop. They keep on engaging with the community. Come on, guys. It's time for some 19K Fox. Let's send you guys over there, and let's hear what he has to say. See you guys in the next video. Take care.